Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Progressive Hoodie here. Andrew Gillum, who was the former Florida gubernatorial candidate on the Democratic side who ran against DeSantis in Florida, Ron DeSantis, was involved in a crystal meth incident at a hotel. This took place last night, and I want to give you the details that I have about it. The police report is available online for you to find. And I looked up the address that was on the police report, and it says it brings you to Mondrian Hotel, the Mondrian Hotel at South Beach. So I'm going to get into this a little bit, but before I get into the other details of this, I do want to read the statement from that Andrew Gillum has issued. So what he said was, I was in Miami last night for a wedding celebration when first responders were called to assist one of my friends. While I had too much to drink, I want to be clear that I have never used methamphetamines. I apologize to the people of Florida for the distraction this has caused our movement. He later goes on to say, I'm thankful to the incredible Miami Beach EMS team for their efforts. I will spend the next few weeks with my family and appreciate the privacy during this time. So that's his statement. He is very clear in stating that he's never used methamphetamine. So that's what he's saying. So now I want to break down the timeline. And again, all of this is verifiable in the police report, so check that out. But this incident involves three people. One man named Travis Dyson, another man named Aldo Mejias, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, and another man named Andrew Gillum. So I'm going to give you the information that I have about that. So Dyson rented a room at this hotel at 4 p.m. on March 12th, 2020. And he did so with Mejias' credit card. So this guy, Aldo Mejias, gave him his credit card information so that Travis Dyson could rent out this room. Okay? And so he did so at 4 o'clock. Now, Mejias arrived at 11:07 p.m., where he discovered the other two. So Andrew Gillum arrived, I guess, sometime between 4 and 11:07. Because when Mejias got there, he was already there. So when Mejias got there, Dyson was the one who answered the door. So Travis Dyson comes and answers the door, and after that he collapses in what he says, quote, a prone position. Okay? Meanwhile, Andrew Gillum is clearly under the influence of something, and he's vomiting in the bathroom. Okay? Dyson is having trouble breathing, and Mejias notices this and starts doing chest compressions, starts to do CPR on him, is calling the police, calling for medical help. First responders then arrive, and they try to speak with Andrew Gillum, but they can't speak with him because he's so inebriated they can't even really talk to him. So at the hotel, this guy, Travis Dyson, was treated, and they said he was in stable condition, but they went ahead and sent him to the hospital anyway, just to, as a precaution, even though he was in stable condition at that point. So after they take him to the hospital, they respond a second time to the hotel to check on Andrew Gillum, and they find that he is in stable condition. Now, when officers reported to this room, they found in plain sight 3 small bags containing what they suspect is crystal meth. So they impound those. They obviously take them back to the police station, and Gillum returns to his residence without incident. So I want to get into a few of my observations and what my comments are on this situation. But first, I want to dispel a little bit of nonsense. We need to go ahead and visit the trash bin first. Let's go on over to the trash can and throw some trash away until we have some evidence. So first of all, there are some people that are saying, oh, Andrew Gillum was naked. He was naked. I saw Mike Cernovich was one person who was saying this. I believe, who's another right-wing loony nut job? Candace Owens was saying, oh yeah, might have been an orgy going on. People love to spread misinformation, and neither of those two are good actors. Neither of those are honest people that you should trust. Candace Owens was a quote-unquote liberal who was doxing people before she became a quote-unquote conservative. Just a hack, just a disgusting opportunist cretin. So these are not two people that we're going to trust for any kind of information. So just because they say it doesn't mean it's true. In fact, it's quite possible that the opposite is true. So I don't know. I cannot confirm that or deny it, but there's no evidence of that in the police report. There's absolutely nothing about them being naked, nothing about an orgy, nothing about any kind of prostitution or anything like that in the police reports that I found so far. If that later turns out to be wrong later, then we'll correct it. But we're not going to sit here and spread misinformation and garbage from people like those two individuals. So let's go ahead and throw that in the garbage can. The other thing to throw in the garbage can, though, is I've also seen on social media like, oh, he was just there helping his friend. He was just there helping his friend. Again, I don't see anything about that. Didn't see that in his statement here. And that seems like something that would have been kind of important to put in the statement. But then also, how you helping your friend drunk? Where they do that at? Like, no, that's not how that works. I don't know what they're talking about there, but something about that obviously is not right. He was clearly partying. Now, I'm not saying he is clearly stating that he was not doing drugs. We don't know what was in his system or what was going on, but it says that the police report says that there's some kind of influence, which I didn't say that it was definitely not meth. I don't know what's going on there, but we know that they found what they suspect to be meth in the hotel room. Okay? And his behind was there. So, I mean, we are definitely allowed to use our common sense and put two to two together and question the judgment of Gillum and the idea that, you're helping my friend just doesn't square with me when you're drunk. He said he was at a wedding. If you were at a wedding celebration, if there's an issue and one of your friends is clearly incapacitated, you call the police. You do a report on it. I don't know if he was at the hotel, if the wedding, celebration. It's not really clear in the statement where this celebration was. Is he referring to this hotel meetup? Is that supposed to be the wedding celebration? I mean, or was he coming from an actual wedding reception or whatever, and then was going to this hotel when he found out that his friend needed help and then stopped in to check on him? Again, that doesn't make any sense. If I was getting information about a friend who needed help in that kind of condition, if I was going to check on them, I would absolutely go over and check on them, and I would be calling the police on my way over there. If you're calling me right now to tell me that you are having trouble breathing, or you're scared, or your heart is racing, or you're having some physical problems, I'd be asking, do you need me to call the police? I would not be going over there drunk to try and handle the situation. So something about this whole thing doesn't add up. But anyway, I wanted to throw those little pieces of information in the trash, because until there's some confirmation, so we have some affirmative, like that's true, we're going to throw that trash away. So now I want to give you my observations on this, my commentary and thoughts on it. First of all, my heart goes out to his family. He has a wife and he has kids. So this is obviously going to be a very challenging time for them, a very difficult thing for them. This is really totally bad publicity. And things like this can put tremendous stress on the family unit. So my heart goes out to his wife and to his children, and I hope that they are at peace during this time, working things out as a family, finding a way to reconcile whatever it is that may be necessary in the aftermath of this. The other thing is, a few things that I can say about Andrew Gillum is that he is in support of legalizing marijuana. When he ran against DeSantis, he made it clear that he was in support of legalizing marijuana and also in support of treating drug addiction as a medical issue, which it should be. And so I appreciate that in the event that it is looking likely that that at the very least he was found in a hotel room where there were drugs, and he was in the presence of other people that is doing drugs, and he knows it, right? The whole idea that somehow, again, if that idea comes out there, I'm not going to believe that the police found these drugs, according to the police report, in plain sight. So unless anybody is disputing the truth and accuracy of this report, then the bags of suspected drugs were out where they could be seen on the bed and floor, according to the report. So the idea that Andrew Gillum didn't know that there was drugs there would be absolutely ridiculous. He absolutely would have known that there were drugs in that place, and he would have had a responsibility to know. So this idea of like, I didn't realize there were drugs in the place that I was, is not going to wash. So it's good to see that there's not hypocrisy there. If you are hanging around people that are doing drugs and you know it, then I would find it ridiculous for you to be going out there and telling the American people that you think that the government should be in our lives telling us what to put in our bodies while you hang around people who put this crazy stuff in their body. Also, he hasn't endorsed anyone in the presidential primary. I bring this up because, look, people are like, oh, no, don't make these things about politics now. No, everything is about politics. Everything that happens, our lives are affected by politics in every way. So especially people who want to be politicians, who want to run our government, they don't get to just be hypocrites. They don't just get to just have double standards for themselves. No, it is about politics. And as far as I understand, he hasn't endorsed anyone in the race. As you may know, Bernie Sanders did endorse Andrew Gillum when he was running for governor of Florida. But Andrew Gillum has not endorsed Bernie Sanders, but he also has not endorsed Joe Biden. And, I think that is important. Again, the person who is responsible for this terrible drug policy is responsible for pushing us into that, for having these crazy laws. The crime bill, there it is, the crime bill. A lot of our young African American men, other people as well of other races and ethnicities, being locked up for non-violent drug offenses in our country due to the war on drugs, of course. But then also, the crime bill, they're cracking down on everything. Joe Biden's the person that's like, ought to be the death penalty for everything that ain't jaywalking. This is the type of stuff that Joe Biden has said. And for you to support a candidacy like that, again, while you're found in a hotel room with two other dudes who, one of whom is high off of his mind and is having actual overdose issues, that is, again, I'm not going to sit back and look at something like that and be okay with it and just not bring it up. So he is not endorsed Biden. So that's good. However, we need to do something about this ridiculous double standard in our system, because while I don't believe that he should be arrested, I don't believe he should go to jail, I believe he should get the treatment that he needs, and I want to be very clear about that. I'm also not okay with us living in a country where we are accepting of a two-tier justice system to the extent where politicians, rich people, other people in authority and power are able to be found in a hotel room with meth, and they just get to go home. When you know full well that any ordinary, normal person, average Joe, in that situation is most likely not going to be just going home. So from what I understand, they're not looking at this as a criminal issue at this time, which they shouldn't. But we need to have drug reform in this country. Legalize, tax, and regulate these drugs. Okay? We do not need to be locking people up for putting substances in their own body that they choose to do and put into their own body. We need to give these people help. They need help. People are going through such terrible things. And especially look at the days that we're living in, the days of Donald Trump and his incompetent administration, the days of the coronavirus as it goes across this nation, spreading like a wildfire, infecting person after person. These are scary times. Somebody might want to do some drugs. That's not the way to handle it, I don't think, in a healthy way. But we need to understand that people are going through some things. And that's the last point that I'll leave us with, maybe, is, compassion, I think, is the order of the day. I saw a lot of people, especially a lot of right-wingers, who were like, oh, yeah, you know, popcorn emojis and things like, oh, yeah, we got to sit back and watch the show. Yes, let's watch Andrew Gillum destroy his life. That's disgusting. You people are disgusting. Don't follow me. Don't watch these videos. You disgust me. I don't want your view. I don't want your subscription. Go away. You are disgusting. So I want to make it clear that I stand in complete opposition to you. We should not be celebrating someone who is going through something like this. Whatever it may be, we need to be compassionate. I don't agree with Andrew Yang on Andrew Gillum. I'm sorry, Andrew Gillum. It's not Andrew Yang. Let's be clear. Let's not ruin anybody's reputations here. I disagree with Andrew Gillum on a lot of things. I feel like he ran way too far to the right in the general election. However, we're not going to sit here and cheer on a person having a problem that's as serious as alcohol issue or potential drug addiction issue. We're not finna sit here and do that. We're going to be compassionate and kind. And if you haven't been, now's the time to turn it around. Do something different. Spread a different message. Maybe you don't have to continue to be the disgusting person that you've been heretofore. Don't do that. Because at the end of the day, nobody goes through this life unscathed. None of us get through this without having all kinds of problems and stresses and things that cause our hearts to break and pain in our lives. And people are trying to deal with that pain. We need to give them alternatives. We need to give them the power to make informed choices and to do better for their own lives. But to celebrate it, to act like this is so great. This is not so great. A man overdosed. That's not great. And if you're celebrating that, something wrong with you. Right, something wrong with you. Right. All right, have a good day, everybody. Deuces.